Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
There you go. Now I added myself. Here's the thing when you're by yourself. You guys, if you're watching later, you know what the cool thing is? Because I haven't put anything out yet. I can now say they aren't going to blow this. Right? How's that? See? Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Everything. Glad you can join us. Obviously, talk a lot about the Tigers. All right. See, and now a few people are joining. They aren't, hi, Todd. They aren't going to blow this. Right. See, we can do that. It's a disaster right now. Look, no other way to say that. 17 days until week 0, by the way. See, Todd, here's a cool thing. I can do this. And people watching later, they're like, okay, now I know what the idiots do. He's sending it out there. 17 days until week 0. And boy, do I need college football right now. Do you know what the frustrating thing is for me, you guys? And I was at the game last night. I know a guy. He got me really good seats. Todd, you know a guy, or gal, as it were, and you got really good seats the other night. As Ty said, they might blow this. They might. This has been a horrible stretch, And the reality is that the Indians have picked up, 9.5 games in 24 days or some crap like that? I mean, it's ugly right now. It's one thing to lose a series, all right? You're going to lose series along the way, all right? Who you lose said series to is the infuriated part. Did you see that Twins lineup? I'm not just talking about the lineup. I'm talking about who they started too. All right, let me do the Twitter thing. Can you guys stick with me for a second? They aren't going to blow this, right? That's just going to be my tagline for the night. And that's where we're at right now. Is I'm honestly thinking and asking myself aloud if they're going to blow this. And tell me if this sounds familiar. Trade deadline, a team decides to sell. Except people forgot to tell the guys in the locker room that they were supposed to lay down, that selling meant that the season was over. Does that sound vaguely familiar? Where have I heard that from? I can't quite place it. I've heard that angle. I think somebody forgot to tell the Cleveland Guardians. I almost called them the Indians again, man. Old habits die hard. I'm sorry. I think somebody forgot to tell them that they are supposed to lay down, especially with all the gambling allegations, et cetera, et cetera. Netflix is planning the sequel of The Collapse. Bats have been a problem for as long as the bullpen, if not longer. There's no doubt about that. Here's the problem with The Collapse of 2009, okay? It wasn't that they played that poorly down the stretch. I mean, they played poorly, but it wasn't like they fell apart. Go back. I forget the exact numbers. You guys can go look it up. Do you know what it was? It was the Twins were unconscious. So you mix meh with a team that literally went unconscious, and you have what we had in 2009, right? That roster. Okay, I watched the whole series. Todd, you were at the game on Monday. I was at the game Tuesday. That lineup is awful. Every pitcher they started is awful. If you don't believe me, go look at their stats. Awful. And the strength from last year, we've been talking about this for a long time, the bullpen has gone away. And as Tim pointed out, as have the bats. And as I've been screaming for 2 months, not that anybody ever listens to this dumbass, who is the Tigers' number 2 pitcher? Go. Who do you feel comfortable with? I'm not being funny. Don't tell me Jack Flaherty. Do not. I don't want to hear it anymore. If anybody says Jack Flaherty to me, I'm going to get mad. I'm serious. This has been going on all damn year, okay? And I understand he's good cop, bad cop. There's good Jack, there's bad Jack. We make the jokes. Pull out your coin, flip it. Man, you can't count on that as your number 2. Mize? Paddock? He was terrible the other night. The old man? Charlie Morton? I mean, the reality is, I said it then, I say it now. I think we miss Reese Olson more than any of us want to admit. Any of us want to admit. Let me get to some of your comments. For some reason, this damn thing is 15.5 game lead to 6 in a month. If they still do it, would you be seeing Riley Green on the milk carton with a missing picture? Yeah, as I mentioned, right, 9.5 games, and was it 24 days? Something insane like that. More on Riley Green in a second. And I'm not going to change my tune from what I said a year ago and what I said at the beginning of this year. Riley Green is the poster child for something I talk about very, very often. I'm not throwing dirt on him. I'm not even saying he's a bad player. It's a bad stretch right now, okay? No doubt about that. I don't know if he gets out of this tailspin. I think that A.J. Hinch may put him on the milk carton, Ray, to your point. He's going to do everything he can to have Riley Green avoid the dubious distinction of most strikeouts in a season by a batter. And he's on pace for right in that area. I have a feeling you are going to see him sit a little bit more as he sat yesterday. Oh, Eric's on Lake Huron. Enjoy. Todd said they were really trying to spice up the Tigers broadcast. Not sure if you heard it yesterday, but it played a couple times when the ball was hit to Matt Vierling in center. We have that for you. You do, Todd? Adventures in outfielding, man. I was there. Like the first one hit to him in the first inning, we were like, what the hell was that route? What were you doing? The best thing Jack Flaherty has brought Detroit is what they got last year in return from the Dodgers. Now, remember this, okay? Not only does he have the 17.5 this year plus the $5 million signing bonus, do you know there's a player's option for another $17.5 million? And if you're Jack Flaherty, why on earth would you turn that down? Do you know what it is? I think people want to believe that Jack Flaherty is going to be the same guy that he was here or there. That's the problem. He was here or there. It's kind of always been his MO, but lately we've seen more of the bad Jack and less of the good Jack. We have. Sean, if the Tigers make it to the playoffs and they get swept, whoever the team that they play, I'm going to be irate. Steve, it's so funny that you say that now, because not that long ago, nobody was saying if. Look, okay, as I sit here today on August 6th, I think they win the division. That's the best I can give you. All right, Todd, death not an option. I'll go first. Death not an option. Y or N? Do the Tigers win the division? Todd shaking his head no. Riley Green is this generation's Bobby Higginson or Rob Deere. Hit a home run, but you strike out a lot. Green in the Rob Deere wheelhouse for strikeouts. Good chance. I said last week they play 500 and they win the division. I think so, Nick. I do. I think so. But like I said, somebody forgot to tell the Guardians that They sold. And they have too much upheaval around them. And they're supposed to lay down. You know, like the Tigers last year. Let me say this about Riley Green. And Todd, tell me if this sounds familiar. There is a problem in our town, whether you guys want to admit it or not. And Riley Green is yet another exhibit of evidence that I put out there to you. We are so desirous of the homegrown come up through the ranks star that more often than not, we put tags on them before it's necessary, before it's earned. And I told you I have long had a problem. This town is really weird. We love to call our good players great players. We do. And then you never know who the random, like, miscellaneous player is that we put on a pedestal and act like he's the greatest. Donnie Kelly baby bullshit, right? The worship and adoration of that guy, I'll never understand it. As long as I live, like, I used to have fun with it, and now it just bothers me. I mean, guy's been gone for a decade, and people still pull that stuff. Batshit crazy stuff, okay? Oh, come on, man. He does everything you ask for. He's not good. So there's that. Here it comes. Yep. Sean hates Dylan Larkin, but misses Brandon Inge dearly. Here's another guy, okay? I had this conversation with my boy at Woodward last year, and he got really mad at me. He used the term great, and I said, stop it. Riley Green is not great. He's a very good player. Sometimes very, very good. And he's made some incredible plays in the outfield. I'm sorry, I don't like to throw great on guys. That should be rarefied air where we don't even have a debate. Okay? Like I asked 10 of you, is Riley great? If 5 say yes and 5 say no, there's your answer as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what great should be? Zero debate. None. 10 for 10, baby. That's what great is. And we do that all the time in this town. Eric, I'd love to talk about the Yankees. If I was in one of the boroughs right now, I'd be talking about the Yankees. You're going to have to excuse me. We're talking a lot about the Tigers because they're a mess right now. All right. More of your comments as well. Unrelenting, baby. Unrelenting. Sean, it's good to know that Brad Holmes has his spine no matter what. How many people want Hooker gone, and there is no trade value. You can't trade him. He's not going to make the team. I'm sorry. I've said it for months. I'm going to continue. I just don't think he's going to make the team. I don't. Sometimes you miss. I'm not going to hang Brad Holmes for that. I thought it was worthwhile. 3rd round pick, guy who's a little bit older, guy that may have been a legit Heisman Trophy guy. I can tell you in the meetings that I was in as a Heisman Trophy voter, he was near the top. But at the end of it, it's not happening. The writing was on the wall last year, man. When you decide to pluck a high school football coach after he wins a state championship, when you decide to pluck that guy and say, hey, man, we need you to be our backup quarterback, I think the writing's on the wall. Now, again, listen, do I know this definitively? I don't want to say I know this definitively. I'm reading the tea leaves here, and he hasn't done a lot to kind of change my mind. I hope it works out for the kid, right? I do. That means good things for the Lions. I've seen nothing out of Hendon Hooker and nothing out of the way the Lions treat him that would suggest to me, oh, yeah, he's cool. By the way, I'm going to say it again. I think that's another thing that people get infatuated about, the backup quarterback in the National Football League. Man, you lose your starter 99 times out of 100, your season's done. Now, you hope that you lose him for a few weeks and you have a strong enough core where you can win some games. But look, there's a reason why Jeff Hostetler and Nick Foles are exceptions to a far greater rule, you know? But with that said, do we need a better option at backup quarterback right now? Yeah, we do. I hope Hendon Hooker works. I do. I have nothing against the guy. I like the guy at Tennessee. I got into arguments with people that said he was nothing more than a quote-unquote system quarterback. Blue Jays are one of the best teams, and everyone still talks about the Yankees. Lucky Detroit plays in a horrible division. Can you imagine losing to a team with 2 pitchers being investigated? Ray, that's another thing. I'm sorry. You people love to call me out when I'm wrong. I get it. It's part of the business. I got killed when I said this division wasn't very good last year, and I stand by it. This division feasted on a historically bad baseball team last year. All of them feasted on the White Sox, okay? This isn't a good division. Can we all agree with that now? Remember last year, 3 teams made it. What are you talking about? Brr. And you know what? Can I go a step further? Todd, I don't think the NFC North is all that. I don't. Sorry. The Bears hype, I've heard it all before. I've heard it 1,000 times. I heard it last year. They got that glorious bump from a made-for-television show by the name of Hard Knocks. The Vikings, it was a magical run with Sam freaking Darnold, right? And the Packers were kind of mad. They won some games, but, I think even the most diehard Packer fan would say, well, we weren't exactly dangerous. You know what I mean? My buddy Mike from Wealth Advantage. Love the Tigers, love this team. They can make it to the ALCS, but our second-generation ownership will never spend the money to tip it truly in our favor. Chris is cheap. Do you guys know how you change a narrative, right? And Christopher can get angry at that take, and the front office can get angry at that take, but until proven otherwise. I had a real big issue the other day, too. I want to get back to it. Scott Harris said something that really agitated me. Really, 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 really agitated me. Let me get to some of your comments. Ron, this is what happens when you trade for low-grade players at the deadline. Harris thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He ain't. It's funny because obviously the guy that they got from Minnesota, Paddock, had one good start. And then, he was awful last night. Todd, was it coming across on TV the way it was at the park? They were hitting rockets off of him. Rockets. And it wasn't just watching it. It was the sound off the bat. They were hitting rockets off that guy. Obviously, Finnegan has looked good. And Morton looked good in his one start. Small sample sizes, in fairness, right? But yeah, it was underwhelming. It was. Why do Detroit general managers in all sports hold on to prospects only to sign and trade for other scraps? Development is obviously important, I think, with the Tigers and the Red Wings. Overdevelopment, overseasoning, we can have that conversation. I'll get Brad Holmes back here. Can I get Brad Holmes back? Which one of his young players that are part of this core do you want to see walk away? And it's funny because a lot of people have said, well, why doesn't he spend more? Why doesn't he spend more? All these guys are coming up with contract. All these guys are moving off their rookie contracts to next contracts sooner rather than later. So which one do you want to see walk away? Todd, I'm on Ross St. Brown. You want to see him walk away? Nah, nor do I. Hutch, anybody want to see him walk away? Nah. Campbell? Nah. Sam Laporta? No. J-Mo, you want to see him walk away? Todd shaking his head, yes. I'm not much of a gambler, but I put $10 with my boy Justin from Woodward Sports. I put $10 on him as the potential offensive player of the year in the NFC. It was like at 12,000 to 1 or something like that. $10? Are you kidding me? So I'll get Brad's back there. I get it in a certain regard. Now, do I wish that he would lift up the couch and see what kind of change he can throw to a package to entice Zadarius Smith to come back? Yes, I do. And I'm hoping this is a ploy of Zadarius Smith, who's basically saying, I don't want any part of camp. I don't want anything to do with these fake football games. You know what? I'll sign right after the last exhibition game. Give me a week to get ready. I've been working out. Give me a week to be ready. I'll be ready to go by the time the regular season starts. I hope that's the case. I do. I hope that's the case. Good evening, Tom. I asked myself today why I had the Lions season tickets for 25 years, but don't want to spend money at Copa with Illich. I will. I think William Clay Ford wanted to win, and he didn't know how. Chris Illich, I don't see it. I've always said that. I really believe that William Clay Ford wanted to win. I also firmly believe that he was going to put his guys in there and nobody was going to tell him how to run his toy. And that's why I said 1,000 times, and I'll make it 1,001. When we did that dumb march, in retrospect, it was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Not only because of the backlash from it, but knowing now what I didn't really know then. I had heard, but I didn't really get it. Nobody tells the late William Clay Ford how to run his business. I think, if anything, he dug his heels in. And it took his son basically, saying, I don't know why he's involved. Or I don't know why he's employed still. I'm paraphrasing at that DAC meeting. And then a couple days later, he was fired. Broken on our show, I might add. What Detroit athletes would you truly consider great right now? Scooble, yes. Amon-Ra, yes. Penei Sewell, yes. Great right now. That's a great question, Honolulu Blue. I like that. Great right now. Cade Cunningham's really close. I'm not throwing it out there yet. I'm not. And I know a lot of people get mad at that. I think the playoffs kind of showed me that. He's really close. He's really, 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 really close. The Red Wings, I don't think you could call one player on that team great yet. Not one. Please don't throw Dylan Larkin in my face anymore. We're done with that, right? There it is. Sean hates Dylan Larkin. Right? The Lions, Jared Goff. I say it. Maybe you'll yell at me for that. I say it. Hutch. Jack Campbell, not yet. Penei Sewell, yes. Jahmyr Gibbs. Even in the small sample size, I would say Jahmyr Gibbs. I would. Todd shaking his head, yes. You're right. The loss 2 years ago at San Francisco, 30 minutes. That loss stings as time goes on. Nick, I pray to God that I don't have the same feeling about that I did the 2006 Tigers. 2006, I wasn't mad. I think about 2006 now, and I want to put my head through a plate glass window. I do. I do. And honest to God, if you guys remember, Todd, we were on that night when they lost to Frisco. Was I sad? Of course I was. Was I upset? Of course I was. But the future was in front of them. And I believe that. Don't think for a second I'm saying that the window's this close to being shut, okay? But let me put it to you this way, like the way Nick said it. God forbid we have another situation like last year. We lose in the NFC Championship even. We win a game, lose in the NFC Championship. Well, that's 3 years now. And I'm going to start to feel more agitated about that one, 2023. 2024 was like the perfect storm, injuries everywhere, right? I don't know. Thoughts on ESPN buying Red Zone, NFL Network? How long before we get a Super Bowl on ESPN? College football will be part of Red Zone. ESPN, usually whatever they touch, they ruin it. Sorry, the one exception I will make is Game Day. I love Game Day. I'm probably incredibly biased. You guys know me. I'm fortunate enough to be a Heisman Trophy voter. I love college football. I mean, heck, look at 17 days until week 0 right there. I hope and pray they don't touch red zone in particular. Red zone is a great option. I enjoy red zone. Now, you guys know me. I don't play fantasy anymore. I don't miss it. The best accidental decision I could ever make. I was infatuated with it. I hosted shows, things like that. The COVID year, my mindset was there's no way in Hades I am going to spend, I don't even want to tell you how much, to be in a couple different leagues, one league in particular. Especially if a guy's sneezing, he might be out for 2 weeks, right? And I'm like, I'm not investing money when my stud running back Todd could have a sneeze around the facility and they deem he's out for the next 10 days. Thanks anyway. No way. And I forgot how cool it was to watch football without this damn thing in my hand constantly. And I cannot see myself going back. Now, since then, have I played in a couple quote-unquote work leagues? Yes, but you know what I'm saying. It's like $10 or whatever, right? Yay. Oh, gosh, I better set my lineup. That type of stuff, where you're not obsessing about it. How many times have you guys been in that position? Let's be honest, where there's crappy 1 o'clock games on, right? There's nothing on Fox because the Lions are on later. And the NBC game is, I don't know, the Indianapolis Colts at pick something. Jacksonville. You know what I do? I go straight to red zone, man. I'd rather watch red zone than deal with that snore fest. Now, I don't have the NFL package. I never needed it because I was gone all day Sunday. So the next best thing for me is the red zone. I love red zone. I know it's not for everybody. My guy Maz this morning said he doesn't like it. I love red zone. John also said, what Detroit athletes would you have on your current great list? I said the ones, I think Cade's close. That's the only Piston. I don't think any Red Wing goes on that list right now. Skubal is legitimately the only Tiger. Panay, Hutch, Goff. I know that one will probably ruffle some feathers. Gibbs. And I'll say Amon-Ra. You guys agree or disagree? You tell me. I don't know. All right. I'll get back to more of your comments in just a second. Got to take care of some reads, no doubt about that. You saw my guy Mike Husak in the chat. Always appreciate not only Mike's friendship, but the fact that he helps out this endeavor. And if you are ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two handsome fellas right there. There's Mike on the left. That's Jeff on the right. These are guys with over 20 years of industry experience. I've known them for 21 years. Great guys. They are going to take care of you as they've taken care of my family. And the beautiful thing is they'll sit down and talk with you and basically tell you what you already know. No situation is the same. No two situation is the same. What works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. If you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell a company, you're already in retirement, it doesn't matter. These are guys that can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. Look, as I said, the investment world is a complex one. What works for you, what works for him, what works for her, 3 different things. These are guys that are prepared and equipped to help navigate those waters. Give my guys a call, the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Nick said, I think this NFC North hype is way overblown. 100%. I swear to God, we're doing the same thing we did with the AL Central. We are, guys. I do not think this division's that good. I don't. I think 11-6 could win this division, and I'm being very serious when I say that. There might be a couple teams tied at 11-6, but I think 11-6 will win this division. I really, truly do. I mean, very quickly, Nick, since you went there, okay? You've got the Lions, all right? And I'm telling you, I know this season's going to be miserable. It's going to be miserable. And here's why it's going to be miserable, because you're going to have dummies out there that will try to attach success to what they do in the regular season. How often do teams go 15-2 in this league? How often, going back to the 16-game schedule, how often do teams go 14-2, right? Now, how often do they do it 2 years in a row? You know what I'm saying? This could be a team that's a hell of a lot better than last year's team. I believe they're going to be too, by the way. And they could go, gasp, 12-5. But you know what the dummies will be saying? Man, you people, you got snowed. They were 15-2 last year, man. They're 12-5 this year. What else do you need to see? You know it's going to happen. You know it. I'm going to fight it all year. The ultimate success or failure of this team will be what transpires in January and February. And I will say it 1,000 times. I don't give a crap what their record is as long as they get the playoffs. I don't care. I had a guy the other day. Todd, did I mention this to you? I had a guy the other day. This is true. You could go look on Twitter. It was like one of the most, pardon my language, just get the swear jar ready. It was like one of the most fucked up conversations I've had in a long time. He told me, I'm not making this up. You can go search these if you're really bored. He told me that a large part of the fan base would be disappointed I'm not making this up, okay? A large part of the fan base, including him, would be disappointed if the Lions won 11-6 and won the Super Bowl. Let that sink in. The fuck? So I had to play. I know I shouldn't play with crazy, but I had to play. I said, well, to me, I just want to win a Super Bowl. And he goes, I want to win a Super Bowl and be dominant. It won't mean as much if we're not dominant. Like winning the Super Bowl isn't dominant, but I digress. Okay. So I'm serious. I was so intrigued by this level of crazy. It grabbed me. I was so intrigued by this level of crazy that I said, okay. So can I ask you a question? Would you rather be the 2007 New York Giants who went 10-6 or the 2007 New England Patriots who went 16-0? How stupid is that? Give me the 10-6 New York Giants who beat the unbeaten New England Patriots in the Super Bowl every day. But unfortunately, you guys know this. We're going to be besieged with people like that. We are. Okay? We could be the number 2 seed. Go 12-5, right? 12-5 could get you the 2 seed. And you're going to have people saying, man, were you guys snowed? Weren't you the number 1 seed last year? Yeah. You're the number 2 seed. Good luck going on the road. You're going to hear dumb shit like that this entire year. You know it deep down inside. When they know that we know that the only thing that matters is success in the playoffs now. Of course, first you got to get in. You can't. Now, if they go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, all bets are off. Hellfire and brimstone. And the Lord will come down and strike down. All that, okay? I'm with you. But if they go 11-6, win the division, hell, have to play an extra game. What do I care? Punch your ticket to Santa Clara, man. Period. That's the ultimate success or failure of this. If you get wrapped up in the regular season this year, that's your own damn fault. Teams don't go 15-2 2 years in a row, man. It doesn't happen, especially with a schedule like this. This is still a really damn good team. It is almost virtually impossible for them to have the type of injuries that they did last year. Could they roll up 13 wins? Yeah. Could they roll up 14 wins? It's a stretch, but for the sake of an argument, I'll say yeah. 15-2, my jaw would drop. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love nothing more. Hell, go 16-1. Forget it. Why stop there, Todd? Go 17-0. But you know what still remains? What'd you do in the playoff? That still remains. All right. Let's see. Mike said they were lifeless last night, and every swing was a frozen rope. Harris holding his prospects with almost no top 100 prospects removed, with the exception of Dave Dombrowski. That's my guy. You did not have to move our young guns. Holmes and Dombrowski were legit in the office. Love Dave. You know that, Mike. Dave's my guy. The slander on his name, I have a long memory, man. The slander on his name pissed me off. Hutch is great. There's no doubt about it. Life is better when Sean is in his lab. Thank you. Steve said, I met Dylan Larkin at a Little Caesars charity event in Waterford. He gave me a New Balance shoes. He's a Waterford native, just like Pat LaFontaine. He was my favorite player for the Sabres. How good was Pat? Boy, oh boy. Dylan's like Todd. Here it comes again. Dylan is a really good guy. Dylan is a really good player. I would take him on my team. Do not tell me he's a number one center. Do not call him great. That doesn't mean that there it is. I hate him. Wanted number one center. Yes. Yes. Sean, has an NFL general manager or head coach been fired despite having a good record, making it to the Super Bowl, but not winning the Super Bowl? Oh, lots of guys. Marty Schottenheimer. Remember Chokenheimer? That was always Marty's MO, right? Norv Turner had some really good teams with San Diego. And you know, he lost his job. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Sean has a prepared statement that he reads whenever he's invited to another absurd league. Bill, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, no offense to you guys. You guys know me. I loved it every bit as much as any of you, okay? I did a TV show. I did a radio show. The best decision I ever did was take that year off. I would say to you, take the year off, but the problem is you'd probably stop playing fantasy football, and then you'd blame me. You know what I mean? Like, really legitimately, that you'd probably blame me for it. All right, Todd, I got to do another read. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this up. How about we go to, man, my phone has been so screwy lately, Todd. It's just like when Todd was blowing me off the other night. I sent a message after message, and he was blowing me off. All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, week zero parties, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. With Rick and his staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Boy, they have hooked us up. You know, some events I can't do the cooking. You know me, I like to do the cooking. Some events you just can't. You got to shake hands, kiss babies. That's where my guy Rick and his staff come in. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Let's see. Red Zone is the best. I watch it all day long. If there's a good game on, I'll switch. More often than not, though, because we remember this. The Lions were always the JV game, remember? Occasionally, we still get the JV game. It doesn't look like a JV game, but occasionally we still get the JV game, right? How many of those 1 o'clock games just suck, right? Straight to Red Zone, and I don't think twice about it. Straight to Red Zone, don't even think twice about it. Nick, I got obsessed staring at my fantasy team for the next 10th of a point. Now, odds to win graph, debating if Lions players do good. for my fantasy team if I play them against them, et cetera, et cetera. Insanity. I got out and got sucked into another league within an hour 3 years ago. Hey, I'm not going to chastise you guys. Like I was, you got to remember, okay, a guy at my advanced age, I started in 1989. That was my first league, 1989. All right. I did it for 31 years. And then I was done. I could never in a million years envision joining another league. And if you remember, I always say one of the godfathers of fantasy football, he blushes and gets mad at me, but Paul Charchian. I used to have Paul Charchian on my show all the time. He would do segments with us on Fantasy Sports Geekly. And Charch is like dumbfounded. He was like, dude, you're not doing it at all? No. I wasn't in a league at all last year. 2 years ago, I was in a work league. And I to say that I paid attention would be a complete and utter lie. I paid no attention. I finished first in the league, like in the regular season. And of course, you know what that means, the kiss of death. You're out in the first round. So, of course, I think I was out in the second round. I didn't pay attention. I just didn't. Oh, shit, I got to get my lineup in. Now, you guys know, when do you ever have to worry about getting your lineup in? You have your lineup in Tuesday. Now, you may change it 57 times before the games start, but you have your lineup in on Tuesday. Bill said J-Mo needs to be on there, in my opinion, game breaker. Not yet. It's all there. This year, it could happen. This could be the year he graduates. I think Cade is the next up in graduation. J-Mo is right there with him. I can't say it yet. Just one man's opinion. Game breaker, absolutely. Like I said, I put money on him to win the Offensive Player of the Year. I think a monster season is loading for that guy. I do. But we also have to remember, okay, and we saw this a little bit with Laporta last year, where are the balls going to go? Gibbs is going to get his. Montgomery's going to get his. I think Laporta will be more involved. Amon-Ra is going to get his. But there's no substitute for speed. I think J-Mo, you can hear that dumb graduation song playing and Macho Man Savage ready to come off the top rope. Wasn't that great when Macho Man used that song, Todd? Did you like wrestling back then? Nah, 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 nah. It's so good. I know Class's locker. He gone. Nick said, never get a regular season like last year, undefeated on the road, just like 2 years ago. Nick, that's why, and it's funny, some Lion fans get mad at me, and it's like, you guys, maybe you're not hearing me. I think this team is going to win the NFC. I really, truly do. I don't care about the regular season. Get your 11, 12 wins. Do what you need to do. I don't care about the regular season. Yeah, but you don't think they can win 15 again? No, I don't. The schedule's a bear, and how often do we see a team go 15-2, let alone do it 2 years in a row? Steve said, I remember when the Lions were 12-4 back in 91. They lost to Washington. Can you imagine them playing again in the playoffs? Commanders are kryptonite to the Lions. Man, Steve, the week before I was at that Cowboys game. It was unbelievable. I've never been in a play. The only thing I compare to it, I've said this before, it was so loud in the pick six, but I'm not joking. In the moments before Game 7 against the Nets in 2004, I was sitting next to the late Jamie Samuelson, and as God is my witness, we couldn't hear each other talk. We could not hear each other talk. He was going, and I was going, and you had to wait. You did. It was so loud in the Palace that night before Game 7 against the Nets. And the Silverdome was like that. That roar for the pick six was unbelievable. I'll never, and it's funny because I brought that up. My guy Lowe, he and I did a show for a while, and I brought that up to Lowe, and he goes, Sean, listen, I was down on the field. We all looked at each other like, what the hell just happened? He was like, you don't understand. Like, that's a talking point amongst us players. And I was like, chills, like Todd, chills. It was so damn loud. Oh, it was so much fun. You buy anything yet from Gardner White and pray the Lions win it all? Everything you buy is free. Did you hear that deal? That's pretty cool. Gardner White has a go buy all your furniture now, and if the Lions win the Super Bowl, everything you bought is free. You get your money back. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, right? Bill said he wants dominance from a team in a sport with perhaps the best parity in any major sports league in the world. Get the out of here. Bill, I'm not joking. I've got involved in some weird conversations over the years, okay? I really have. That was one of the strangest. And I should have pulled the cord, but you know how it is. Sometimes you're just so intrigued. You want to hear what level of crazy there is. And so the final question was, would you rather be the 10-6 Giants or the 16-0 Patriots? And it was almost like sanity came back and he was, well, of course, I'd rather be the 10-6 Giants. And I said, well, what the hell does it matter if the Lions go 11-6? Super Bowl winner of 15-2 season. I love that, Todd. Who cares? Does anybody remember? Who cares? The Giants snuck their way into 2 different playoffs and beat Tom Brady. Like, okay, I'll take that. Darren said the Lions' road schedule is brutal, but the defense with pseudo-free agent Hutch will be vastly improved. 10-11 wins, but I agree it's playoff wins that matter. Darren, you know what? People forget how gosh damn good that defense was last year. People forget. Oh, by the way, Terrion Arnold isn't going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and new to the league like he was in the first few weeks last year. You guys go look at what the Lions defense did leading up to that Dallas game when Hutch went out. And then it was just everybody and their brother went out, as you know. I mean, it really was historic injuries. But that's what I told my guy the other day on Twitter. I was like, hey, dude, like, seriously? Go fact check yourself and go look at how good that defense was until you lost a great player. Yeah, whatever. The 2020 Tampa Buccaneers team was a dominant team. No, they weren't. They were a wild card. I'll take it. Just call me Super Bowl champion, right? There have been, correct me if I'm wrong, you can fact check me, 7 teams that have won the Super Bowl as a wild card. I believe Tampa's the last one. Tampa's the last one in 2020. By that moron's definition, that's not dominant, right? They were a wild card team. But Eric, you and I know Tom Brady won another Super Bowl that year. That's the only gosh damn thing that matters. Now, of course, do I want to win the division? Of course I do. I want to go 6-0 against them. I want to beat the Bears 3 times. Even though 2 games are scheduled, I want to beat the Bears 3 times. Okay? Let's go 6-0 again against the division. Do I want the number 1 seed? Of course I do. But it's not imperative. I'm sorry. It just isn't. Hello, friends. Eric said you hate Dylan. There it is. You know, see, Todd, there are people that legitimately believe it, that they really, like, I can say Dylan Larkin is a good player over and over. I can say I'll take Dylan Larkin on my team over and over. And like people, because I refuse to call him a great player, I hate him. What do you want me to say? Henry said, thoughts on the new Werner's Boston Cooler Pop. I haven't tried it yet. Have you, Todd? Yeah, I've heard good things. 1989, checking the USA Today pages with a magnifying glass. You got it, Nick. That was fantasy back then. Hoping that my commissioner mailed out our standings and who my opponent was playing that week, and the mail came by Saturday. Because if not, I had to call the commissioner and call my opponent to find out who was playing. That was legitimate. That was legitimate. We had to do things like that. All right, I got a couple more reads to do. Obviously, you guys. We're going to be back here tomorrow night, by the way. Did you know that? When it comes time to get yourself a house, whether you're buying, selling, both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Well, that young lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan and an expert in all facets of the business. So when it's time to move, Lindsay and her team are going to make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when getting yourself a new house. You're a buyer, you're a seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Go with experience, go with a great team. Go with Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Love Fantasy Geekly. Thank you, Eric. I have never been involved with a show ever. There's a shelf life with shows. I firmly believe it. There's a shelf life with show. I have never been involved in a show where when you were done, you were just done. Like after doing that for 13 years, man, I never wanted to do that again. It just, you know what I mean? It was fun. It had a great time. And then it was just time to do something else. You know what I mean? Do you still watch all of the NFL games, Sean? Do the nature of your day job? Bill, I do, honestly. That's one of the coolest things about not having to be at Ford Field all day. In the past, I mean, you got to remember, I leave at 8:30 in the morning. And a lot of Sundays, I was back at like 11:45 at night, So, I mean, to say all the games, nah. I watch what's on TV. Like I said, if there's a bad game on at 1:00, it goes right to Red Zone, and I'll probably leave Red Zone on the rest of the afternoon. And then the Lions games, I never miss that. It's every now and again I have to call a game or something. So I'm one of those guys. I've long convinced myself, I don't want to know the score. You're always going to know the score, but I'll go back and watch it. Yeah, it's part of your job, whether it be talking about it here on Woodward, whatever the case may be. Jake the Snake putting a king cobra on Macho Man's arm, biting him, little kids crying, good times. Washington is the Lions' daddy. Yeah, until further notice, man. Until further notice. Eric said, I'd rather be 15-0 Natty Champions, Michigan. Hey, 15-0 is better, man. No doubt. I'll take a national championship, though. As a Spartan fan, I could give a crap. Oh, we lost 2 games. We're the national champions. Cool. Of course, yeah, you'd rather be 15-0. No doubt. Is JJ ready for the bright lights in Minnesota? No. He's a first year quarterback. No. Everything went right for them last year. Let's face it, except against the Rams and the Lions. Isn't it funny how their year worked out? They won 5, and then they lost back-to-back games against the Lions and the Rams. And then what was it? They won another 9 in a row or whatever the hell it was, and then lost back-to-back games against the Lions and Rams, and their season was over. Jim said the first Ravens Super Bowl was a wild card team with that defense. Isn't that crazy? Todd, did you fact check me? It's 7, right? It's 7. Yeah, 7 wild card teams. That team was unbelievable, Hubie. Unbelievable. Remember who that quarterback was? I know you do. Trent Dilfer. Didn't they go through, was it a span of like 3 games they didn't even score an offensive touchdown? I mean, it was insane. And yet, in the playoff, that defense, and they were kicking everybody's ass, man. Back in 97, I had to go to either an internet cafe or library to set my fantasy football lineup in. Tough Scrabble. Yeah. 13 years of Fantasy Sports Geekly is a lot. It was. It got monotonous. I'm not going to lie. It really did, Man, this town was so freaked out over that late season Viking game. I was one of them too. It was always because of the injuries. And then what the master class that Aaron Glenn put on that day, there was no doubt in my mind that guy was going to be a head coach. No doubt in my mind on that day. Not that there was beforehand, but on that day, you knew he was going to be a head coach. Hey, did you know thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They go the extra mile. They get the work done for you. They do the dirty work. They get the great rates, and they stay ahead of the game. I told you guys a story last month. Went out to dinner. Alex calls me and my wife and says, hey, there's a little curve coming ahead. You might want to do this, this, and this. And that is the legacy difference. It starts with fixing mistakes that other agents have made, asking the right question to get the right coverage put in place. If you haven't checked your policy, and I mean, who does? Chances are you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give the guys a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Todd, I'm going to have to drink some tea tonight. I've just been talking so much. 'Tis the season, right? Doing multiple shows. Check us out in the morning on Woodward, having a blast with KG and JB and Maz. We're on 8 to noon. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Then you got to remember, starting in a couple weeks, I'm doing the Friday night games. We have 2 games on Thursday at the Prep Kickoff Classic and 2 games on Friday. Wayne State starts, the hockey starts, so I gotta keep the throat good. All right, listen, God bless you guys. Have a great night. Todd, thank you. We'll talk again. Todd, what time do you want to do it tomorrow? You want to do it 8? You want to do it 9? You said later's better? Later's better. We'll see you at 9 tomorrow. Peace. See you guys.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.